Welcome back, my oodles and noodles, to the channel. And today's actually kind of special. If you guys have been keeping up with the channel, then you know that I think about a month ago I made about a little bit of an announcement to do a AMA. At first I called it a Q&A, but I guess that's not what's popular. But I wanted to do an AMA to celebrate the 1 year of the channel. I know I started the channel back in 2021, but I'd done like sparely any uploads between that point, and then I started officially uploading like consistently daily on like my May 9th or something like that. I'm pretty sure May 9th is our 1 year. I'm considering it to be the 1 year regardless of official dates. So here we are. I asked you guys to submit your series of questions or things you just wanted to know about me. So we're actually gonna go through them today. It's so weird not having like a game in front of me, and I still have my headset on so I don't like hear the echo of my voice in the background. But it's weird to be like looking at my screen, and in editing I'm gonna post the questions here so you guys can see which ones I'm reading from. We have some. I'm just gonna start from the very top. A very simple question: what is my favorite color? I mean, it's kind of obvious. It's okay. I'm not trying to gain attention by saying this. All I'm gonna say is that I'm just really drawn to the color pink. It's like a neon pink. I guess really any pink, coral, baby pink, neon pink. It's just pink. I just like it. I don't know what to say. I think growing up, my favorite color was blue. Nope. It's pink now. Here's a good one. I enjoy anything D&D related. You have mentioned playing the tabletop game. What is your favorite character? One that you created? What is your favorite campaign? We'll start there. Yes, I do play tabletop D&D. It's not very often. I've played a couple campaigns where it started and then stopped. It's hard for me to say what particular campaign I like the most because I enjoy playing D&D. I found in the world of like real D&D, because there are certain D&D campaigns like if you guys don't know what that means, Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that don't even revolve in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Like I played a campaign that was like a Fallout version of Dungeons and Dragons where you could be like a robot or a mutant and play in Fallout, the Fallout universe. And I didn't like that as much. It felt pretty fan-based, and I really like feeling the concrete campaign underneath me. I don't know of any legitimate campaigns because I don't know the names of them, but my favorite campaign is the one I'm playing currently so far. And I've watched a lot of other campaigns. I don't like seeing repeat campaigns. I enjoy playing new, fully customized, story intertwined campaigns where the dungeon master takes bits and pieces of your story and wraps them all together, kind of like Vox Machina does. But the campaign I currently have right now, a friend of mine is the dungeon master, and he 3D prints everything. And he took one of the books campaigns, one of the starter campaigns that you do. You just go through Baldur's Gate. You go through Waterdeep. You get a tavern. Once you complete a massive quest, you get a little notoriety and you start joining all these little different types of guilds. But he threw a little custom element into it all. It was really cool. We haven't finished it yet, but we're like 8 sessions in. Each one lasts about 4 or 5 hours, our longest session being like 6 or 7 hours. I play as a halfling. Nope, I play as a gnome. I play as a gnome street urchin rogue. A rogue gnome street urchin. Kind of like my Baldur's Gate character. I don't know what it is about just being the most oddball person at the table, but I don't want to be what everyone else is. It just, why play Dungeons and Dragons if you're not going to be creative about what you want to be? If you're just going to be the same race that you currently are, just a little variation, like a little tiny pointed ears or whatever, then I don't know. I don't feel like you're being very creative. The point of Dungeons and Dragons to me is that you put yourself in the universe of mystery and magic and fun stuff like that. Have you ever lost a favorite character, and how did the death happen? I haven't lost a character yet, but I've been so close every single time. You cannot take me to a casino because I think I am very bad luck with dice rolls, just in general, when it really counts. When it doesn't count, I'm totally fine. I'll nail those rolls every single time. But don't take me to a battle situation, because even though I have the stats to pull them off, for some reason I'll roll nat ones. And there was one time at our session, I rolled a nat 1 while peeking through the window at a stealth. Granted, granted, my dexterity is incredibly high. I have advantage in dexterity. I have really high stealth. And yet, when I peeked through this window, I was called to do a stealth check. I rolled a nat 1 on a stealth check. Nat 1. Yes. Take a moment of silence, if you please. Thank you. Well, but anyways, I do this nat 1, and my friend, he goes, "I'm so sorry, Kenzie." As you go to pierce through this window, the boulder on the ledge does a slight tilt, and your body falls, and the people inside this little area hear you, and they were the drow. So they go and they take aim at me, and they basically pierce my heart. I'm down to basically critical, and I'm doing death saving throws. That was one of the worst situations, but I got saved by one of my teammates. So that was the closest I've been. And ever since then, every single battle sequence I failed at. I've just been knocked out of the battle. At this point, it's a joke. It's an ongoing joke because it's been every single time. 8 sessions, 8 or 7 or 8 sessions. And I've just been completely down for the count. You can't rely on me for anything in battle. So that's been kind of the toughest part. What games are in the noodles pot for the future? Thanks and fun channel. Thank you. You know, as far as like a series of games, I'm not going to list everything out, but I think just off top of my head, I know for a fact we're going to be playing Shadow of the Erdtree. We're going to be finishing Baldur's Gate, Lies of P, or I think it's called Lies of P, and it's kind of a Souls-like game a little bit, and I really wanted to play that. There's also so many other games that are on my list. I look for deals every single time just in case, but those are, I could just to name a few, I guess those are the few I would say are coming up. What game do you play in your free time outside of recording? Do you play the same games, just different saves? You know, I've thought about playing the same games, but just different saves, but it didn't. I feel like if I jumped into Baldur's Gate with a different save, one of two things would happen. Me being the way I am, okay? And I am a very accident-prone person. You guys know this. I'm very chaotic in the way that I think. I can imagine things going two ways. One, I jump into a save file and then accidentally delete my current halfling rogue that we've been playing on. I could just see it now. I will jump into a random new character and then all of a sudden delete progress on my actual YouTube channel stuff. So that's why I don't do that. And then second, I can see myself getting spoiled with things, knowing things I'm not supposed to know, relationships I'm not supposed to be connected to just quite yet, going too far in a campaign, not on screen, not being surprised, having my reactions be authentic. That's the other thing I don't want to happen. So no, I don't actually play the same games with different saves. I actually play completely different games, and I try to play those games as often as possible, because one thing I found with content creators that do gaming, they get burned out of all their games really quickly, and just gaming in general. So I play a lot of Overwatch. A lot. It's ungodly. I really shouldn't be playing that much Overwatch. It's actually incredibly bad for my health at this point. Yes, this is a cry for help. And I play a lot when I'm not getting absolutely smoked in Overwatch. I go straight to Dead by Daylight. It was a game that I had tried out for our Halloween season 1, and I just fell in love with it because you get in these games really quickly, so I can edit while I go into these matches, and the timing of it works really well, and the balance. I do a lot of like multiplayer games. There was a game recently I played with a friend that was more story-like, and I was very surprised because I didn't do it for the channel. I kind of forgot what it was called. How scary was it to jump into gaming, YouTube, and putting yourself out there? What made you do it? It's a very loaded question. I try to be as concise as possible. My mind and my mouth wander in two different directions sometimes, but it was actually incredibly intimidating. You guys can see it even just now. I started in 2021 and just like nosedived, and it was bombed. Like I'm still even learning, and it's not perfect, but it was definitely super scary, especially when you get those first couple of really negative comments. I think those throw you for a loop. I think the first couple of negative comments I ever had really like off-kiltered me and made me really doubt whether or not I had the skin for this, because I'm a very sensitive person. I don't know if you guys know this. I try to pretend that I'm not very sensitive, but I'm a very sensitive person. But when I decided to put myself out there, the decision came easily because I've been doing that from the day I started working in sales, and that's actually more of my backstory. I've done sales all my life. I think I started working working at a noodles and company years and years ago. Did that for 3 years and then immediately went straight into car sales. I'm sorry, no. I went into gym membership sales, selling gym memberships, and then I went straight into car sales, and I just never went back. I've sold everything from business loans to car loans, advertisement placements, things like that. So when I considered doing the YouTube again fully in 2023, this last year, I fully committed to it because I was like, I've already been putting myself out there in sales jobs for years and I hate it. The talking to people stuff was fun. It was so good. I connect with people really well. But whenever it came down to the transaction part, it was just the worst experience ever. And I'm sure that people didn't like me asking for money. I don't even like asking for money. I just think YouTube and content creation is another form of sales. You're just selling yourself. And so that decision came pretty easily. And I would say that's what made me do it. So to answer that question, what made me do it? That did. Because if I'm gonna fail at something, if I'm gonna keep failing at these sales jobs, which eventually it would get to a point where I would just either burn out or I would just fail, right? If I was gonna fail at a sales job, I might as well just fail at being myself.
I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot to answer this question, so while I'm in editing, I'm gonna go ahead and answer it. What is your zodiac sign? I'm actually a Pisces. I didn't realize I had skipped over that question. I don't even know how. Clearly, I can't read, but I am a Pisces. This is me from the future. Ooh. Okay, now back to the video.
What is the plan/build for the Elden Ring DLC? Also wanted to say that I have been watching you since you started Valheim and Elden Ring runs and have enjoyed watching them. Keep up the good work and quality videos. Thank you. It's really cool to see all the people that came when I was like 200 subscribers, and we've grown a lot. It's not like famous blow up or anything, but it feels really humbling nonetheless. What is the plan for Elden Ring and the build? I don't know. My natural reaction wanted to be, oh, well, I'm just gonna go in and do the same thing I did before. No, I'm probably gonna go in with a little bit more knowledge. I don't know about the builds exactly because we're gonna get introduced to so many new things in the DLC, and I think I'm gonna make up my mind once I jump into the DLC. I need to continue in our New Game Plus journey. I haven't touched it in a little while because the whole rebirthing stuff really threw me for a loop. It wasn't supposed to throw me off, but I'm a let's play reaction kind of person. Since I'm not exactly reacting to new content in Elden Ring, it was hard for me to not revert back to the old stuff we were doing before. So I need to actually get a game plan together. I don't have something concrete for that answer. I just know that I think once I get into the Elden Ring stuff, I think I'm gonna do the dual wielding. Whatever was in that trailer, it was so cool. I want to do that. Would you ever consider creating a community server in Valheim? I would. I've really thought about it. There's two reasons. One, I know I've had Valheim on the channel for so long. I wouldn't consider myself to be a Valheim YouTuber. I would love to start a community server. It also costs a little bit of money to do that. And a PC that's not my total POS of a PC to do so. Wait, you don't need a PC to run it, from what I understand. But nonetheless, it does cost money. And I don't exactly make anything from these videos, but I put a lot of effort and time into them. So I hope people still really enjoy them. And as time goes on, obviously I hope for things to change. But until then, it does require money. Why did you decide to start a YouTube channel and start posting games? Well, that kind of comes back to the and I think some of these are pretty similar questions, but I started car sales, and then I went from one car sales job to the next, and then I went straight into business loan selling. And whenever it came down to the transaction, it always felt like there was a time clock. Every single sales job you have is a time clock. It's always at the end of the month. You have to hit your quota, XYZ. But when it came down to just talking to people, it was some of the best things that's the only thing I'm really that good at, okay? And you can't exactly be that way 100% of the time as a salesman, but you can be that way 100% of the time as a content creator. So that's what made me do it. 2 questions. Feel free to answer either one or both. What YouTubers do you like to watch or like/watch? Sorry. And then what made you start posting playthroughs? Well, I think you guys know about the playthroughs part. The YouTubers I like to watch, I don't watch as much YouTube anymore. I think when you start posting content, you disassociate a little bit more between being a bystander watcher and then that of like a content creator, because you find, at least this is my experience so far, every single time I watch other people, I get inspiration, sure, but it's also super easy to fall back on plagiarism, taking things from other people while calling it finding inspiration. Another reason I don't watch as much is because I compare myself too much to other content creators. And even though my content is nothing like the majority of people who start off on YouTube, I do tend to compare myself a little too much and be I'm my worst critic. And so I don't watch that much anymore. But as a kid and growing up, I did watch the biggest YouTubers. So PewDiePie is my all-time favorite, and I'll die with this, but being up on the screen every single day when I would get home from school, it'd be like, it was like a ritual. I'd have to just watch a video, and even if it were 5 minutes, I would just watch. It didn't have to be of anything. He was just there. Same with some of the other big channels. Right now, I've been occasionally tuning into Swole. He's more of like a Twitch streamer. So he just uploads his VOD videos to YouTube, but he does a ton of horror games. And since I can't muster the courage to do horror games, I like watching other people do horror games. He does a ton of horror games. So he's really, really cool to watch. Because his name is Swole, I watch him while I'm on the treadmill, while I'm watching him play a scary game. It's funny how it all works because he's all about like fitness, and I'm over there on the treadmill just... You're doing so good, man. Keep it up. We have a good series of questions here. How is the job hunting going? Let's put a pin in that question. It's hard with the YouTube stuff because it's already hard to balance getting things out every single day as is. Imagine putting a job into that mix. Yeah, I'm currently like working off of savings, all the money I made in sales. So that's, when it runs out, it runs out. When are we going to see variety content again? Soon, definitely super soon. It's hard with the algorithm because the algorithm does not reward variety content, as is making a channel like this, like the one I have currently, is already so hard because it doesn't get in front of anybody. And I'm definitely not deserving of thousands and thousands of views. I just want to be able to reach out to the people who genuinely do want to watch. I just wish it could reach those people a little bit more. The variety content is incredibly difficult as is, even though I'm only have 2 series right now. When I was doing a different video every week, one video new every week, I found that my channel in general just wasn't going out to anyone, even to like the reoccurring subscribers. So it was kind of hard to see that. I had to kind of take a little bit of a pivot, but I want those variety videos to come back. I just got to figure out a better way to do that. Are you satisfied or disappointed with the channel's growth so far? Another loaded question. I am super happy with how we've grown the channel so far. I think every person wants their videos to go out to more people, but I know how I react when that happens. The very first video that blew up, air quote unquote, for my channel was the Elden Ring video, and that was the first one. I posted it, and I'd only been averaging like 100 views a video. All of a sudden, I post the Elden Ring video once, and I get 1,500 people looking at it within 24 hours. And I actually freaked out in a bad way. I actually was anxious, nervous. I was sitting there like, I felt undeserving of all of those people watching me. When you're starting out, you're not very good. Even this video might not be amazing, but I was watching those views go up and I was like, am I even deserving of all these people watching me? Hopefully I am, but it felt like a lot of responsibility. So I'm so happy that we've been growing at the rate we have, because it warms me up to more and more people, finding their way over to this little corner of YouTube and finding a little bit more acceptance in myself and in the content I'm creating. And it creates it's not as like harsh. I don't want one of my videos to just blow up and have hundreds of thousands of views and then nobody comes back. I want retention to be there. I want people to just keep coming back, but I don't want to just blow up like these one-hit wonders or these singles. I want to be here consistently all the time. I don't know if that makes sense. I need to hear what's your favorite noodle-based dish? Oh my gosh, I have to tell you that I'm so happy you asked this. Really, Thai cuisine is, I guess maybe that's not the way to say that, but I love Thai food. It's my all-time. So, but if you're talking about like favorite dishes, it goes drunken noodles, pho, pad thai, things like that. But then it goes fettuccine alfredo. So I go from drunken noodles to fettuccine alfredo. Always with chicken though, always. Oh, I do like spicy dishes. Anything spicy, like extremely spicy. Do you intend to do only gaming related videos, or is there a chance for a noodles cooking video in our future? I've thought about it. I don't think you guys want to see me in the kitchen. You know how chaotic like my mind is already just with games? Yeah, it's 10 times worse in the kitchen. And just in life, you don't want to see my office. How did you get into games and YouTube? I think you guys know the YouTube part, but gaming? My dad growing up, my family, we have all girls. I have a family of 4 girls, so I'm the oldest. I have 3 sisters in the small apartment at the time. And when I was over there, he'd have games on like World of Warcraft, but he'd also have like a roommate. So it was always really hard to kind of connect with him. It was just, there was not a lot to do. So he'd have like games on where he would be chatting, and I would watch him. I'd watch him play these games, and it was entertaining for me. Don't think that it was not entertaining, because I adored it. And it was also a way for me and my dad to connect. He may not remember this. I remember it clear as day, but World of Warcraft, he'd helped me make my first ever character. And so I'd go over to his house and I'd just play World of Warcraft. And then it grew into other things, like when Kingdom Hearts came out, he'd play that, and he'd only play scary games when we were asleep. So I would pretend to be asleep on the couch, so he would just have to let me be there, because he can't just move me. That's where I'm sleeping, right? So I would pretend to be sleeping, and I would watch him play these scary games, and I will never ever play BioShock ever. It's too terrifying to me. And I will never play, oh my gosh, Gears of War. He played those 2 games, and I think it scarred me deeply as a child. But that's what got me into gaming in general, was just the bonding I had with him, and that was something I was really good at. Place, age, actual occupation, basic stuff. Well, I've been a salesman for years and years and years. I only since recently stopped because I just wanted to full send into something that I could potentially fail at, but fail at being myself. As you guys now know, United States. And then age, 26. I always have to think about it, because I always kind of forget. I always think I'm like 23, and it just, no, I'm not 23, but basic stuff, yeah. And then last but not least, pronouns, she, her. But one time I got called a guy, and I'm gonna take that as a compliment, because I mean, I don't know, I like to be super feminine, but if someone misunderstands and thinks that I'm a guy, I don't know, there's a lot to like to both genders, right? Since that's the end of the questions, I was gonna say thank you guys so much. We hit 2,000 subscribers. Hopefully they're all people that want to be here. I would never ask for somebody to subscribe if they're not at least finding some sort of value out of the videos, whether it be they think it's entertaining, or the editing's good, or they want to follow along on a specific playthrough. I just hope that you're here because you want to be here and you want to watch the videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back to Baldur's Gate and Valheim really soon, and I believe we have Shadow of the Erdtree coming out super soon. I'm so excited. So stay tuned for that. If you guys want me to do another type of like AMA like this again, let me know and I'll do another posted thing. I don't really know how these videos will go, so we'll see how the algorithm takes to it, see how you guys like it. Leave me a comment down below what you guys thought, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Mwah.